So the question for this video is, what is the representative office in Singapore and how does it differs from the private limited company? As you might be knowing that when foreign entities enter into Singapore and when they want to establish an entity for their business, they have three options. The first being of private limited company, the second is representative office, which is what we are discussing in this video, and the third one is branch office. So let's first understand the concept of representative office. As you can see, this is a map of United States of America, and let's presume that you have an office in somewhere in California. And now you are thinking of expanding to Asia region, and you have decided that Singapore might be a good entry point and it is one of the prominent and well placed nation in Southeast Asia. But at the same time, you are not looking for something very complicated, and your idea is basically to do some kind of initial research only. So representative office is the right entity for this. So as I said, you are looking for a temporary organizational entity in Singapore, and the purpose of this entity is to do market research and establish contacts and decide if it's worthwhile to enter into this market with full force. You are looking for a low cost option and you don't want significant compliances for the entity that you will set up. So representative office is the right choice in this case. So now let's understand what are the activities the representative office is allowed to carry out in Singapore. A representative office can carry out market research. It can establish contacts with potential sales agents and maybe procurement options. A representative office can also participate in trade shows and industry events. And it is also allowed to import limited quantity of samples for market research. Now let's have a look at the activities that a representative office is not allowed to carry out. A representative office is not allowed to carry out any activity that is leading to sales. So representative office are only for research and market research purpose. They cannot take any activity that will eventually lead to sales. They cannot issue invoices. They cannot rent warehouses or store goods or bring in goods at a commercial level. They cannot import goods with intention to sell in Singapore or nearby region. They cannot also enter into any sales contract. So it should be clear to you by now that the purpose of representative office is basically restricted only to research and finding out whether the market is really ready for your product and whether it is worthwhile to enter into it. Now let's understand the requirements and conditions for setting up a representative office in Singapore. So the first requirement is that the foreign parent company which is intending to register a representative office here must have an annual sales of more than $250,000 in last year. Audited results of this needs to be attached at the time of registering the representative office. The foreign parent company must have been established for more than 3 years. The total number of employees in the Singapore representative office will be less than 6. Yeah, so that point is here. The chief officer of the representative office will relocate from head office and one employment pass will usually be given to this chief officer. The representative office registration is valid only for 1 year and it can be maximum renewed for 2 times. So as such, the total duration for which a representative office will be active is 3 years. In these 3 years, the company must come to some conclusion as to whether they will like to continue in Singapore, and in that case either open a branch office or register a private limited company or close the representative office and maybe go back to their home country. There is no renewal of representative office beyond 3 years period. Now let's understand the naming convention and liability of representative office. So the name of the representative office must follow that of parent entity. So for example, if the parent company name is ABCD Solutions Incorporation, then the name of the representative office in Singapore will be ABCD Solutions Representative Office. So the word INC is removed and a representative office is added here. Representative office is not an independent legal entity. It is just an extension of foreign entity in Singapore, kind of a research office. So any liability that representative office incurs will reach back to the parent entity. So in case representative office is not able to make payment of their debts or outstandings, then parent company will be required to foot the bill. Now one good thing about representative office is that since it is not engaged in any sales or sales leading activities, there is no question of any taxable income here. And as such, there is no compliance really required for representative office. So here I have summarized in this table. So there is only one thing that is required, and that is to maintain the accounts. This definitely representative office must maintain. But audit of the accounts is not required as per at least Singapore regulations. If your parent entity is subject to audit in its home country, and as a part of parent entity audit, if you need to do the audit of Singapore representative office, then that is a separate issue. Similarly, representative office is not required to hold any annual meeting. Representative office is not required to file annual return like private limited companies have to, nor representative office has to file any income tax. Also, since there is no sales involved, there is no question of having any business licensing. So as such, the compliances for the representative office are significantly low. So here we come to one of the key questions then, representative office versus private limited company. What you should select? So the first thing that I will tell you is that in our experience, we have seen very less number of companies registering a representative office, even though it has a compliance benefit. So our suggestion will be, unless there are specific reasons, you should go for a private limited company and not for representative office. And why I am saying that is because of this. The representative office has significantly less compliances, but it's not flexible and versatile structure. So imagine a situation that you are having a representative office and you are doing some market research, and suddenly an inquiry comes to supply 50,000 units of whatever products you are selling. Now as a representative office, you are not allowed really to handle this, not you are really allowed to work on this. So there are going to be two implications. First, you won't be fast to react to this and you won't be able to pick up this order from the market. And secondly, at every point of time, you will have a question in your mind whether a specific activity that you are doing is allowed or not, and are you in compliance with the law or not. So in comparison to this, private limited company obviously has some more compliances, and possibly the cost of maintaining is going to be more by a couple of $1,000. But it will give you an exceptional flexibility. Any sudden inquiry for sale of product or sale of services you will be able to take up. There is no restriction on number of employees that you can employ in this company, and I think that flexibility is going to be definitely good for your business. So as I said, generally we have not seen many companies registering a representative office. The entity of choice for foreign companies entering into Singapore is still a private limited company.
Thank you for watching this video. This video was brought to you by Epica Consulting Singapore. Subscribe to our channel today to get notified when new videos are posted.